guys, welcome back to another video, and this video I am reacting to the friendliest SCP ever. Let's get started.
SCP-999. SCP-999
I love this SCP very much because he's the friendliest SCP there is, I think so.
is what happens when someone accidentally files a living hug in the Apocalypse database. This thing is 120 pounds of translucent orange slime with peanut butter consistency and golden retriever personality. The Foundation, treating kindness like a containment breach, lets it roam freely because locking up pure joy felt wrong. Its only restriction? Mandatory 8 to 9 p.m. bedtime.
Like child. And also he brings happiness to other SCPs even if that SCP is violent. I think so the SCP which looks like alligator and some kind of a monster is also very dangerous, but he can also control him for some amount of time. But still, even if he go berserk and he's there, he will not hurt him.
SCP-999 makes people happy via tackle hugging them with pseudopods while gurgling excitedly. Touching it causes immediate euphoria lasting hours. It smells different to everyone. Chocolate, bacon, roses, whatever your brain associates with comfort. Its favorite activity is tickle wrestling, enveloping people neck down and tickling until they beg for mercy. Does it always stop immediately? No. Does anyone care? Absolutely not. SCP-999 gravitates toward depressed individuals, with personnel reporting dramatically improved outlooks afterward. The Foundation debates manufacturing antidepressants from its slime. Diet consists entirely of candy, M&Ms and Necco wafers, consumed amoeba style. It refuses meat, risks its life saving others, once took a bullet for personnel. One researcher gave it caffeinated soda, and SCP-999 bounced off walls 30 minutes before getting nauseous. That researcher got reprimanded for making the happiest thing in the facility sad. SCP-4999. Where 999 shows up when you're sad, SCP-4999 appears when you're dying alone. This well-dressed man in dark formal wear only manifests to people dying truly isolated, terminal, conscious, nobody watching, won't show if you're comatose or being observed. Once manifested, it sits beside you, removes cigarettes, offers you one. If you accept, it lights both. If you decline, it smokes alone, then places its hand on yours and stays, silent until you die. That's it. No conversation. No judgment. Just presence. Classified Keter because it can't be contained, not because it's dangerous. Research shows SCP-4999 appears more to impoverished, homeless, non-religious people with no surviving family, few relationships, or those otherwise unremarkable by society's standards. It shows up for people the world forgot. No subject has recoiled, though many break into tears upon noticing it, verbally thank it, or adjust posture to facilitate touch.
So he is there for you in the end of your life if you are alone, and he's there to comfort you at that time.
The cigarette remains after death, the only physical evidence. It's been appearing throughout human history with depictions dating back thousands of years. How pre-modern cultures detected it remains unexplained. SCP-2295. SCP-2295 literally sews your organs back together with fabric, which sounds insane until you realize it works perfectly. This patchwork teddy bear stands 18 inches tall with a heart pin on its chest. Nothing about its materials is anomalous. Standard fabric, regular stuffing, yet when you sustain major organ damage within 2 meters, SCP-2295 activates and becomes the world's most competent, unlicensed surgeon. The bear produces scissors, thread, and needles from its mouth, then fashions a patchwork replica of your damaged organ using nearby fabric. The replica vanishes, you fall unconscious, and wake with the fabric organ replacing your biological one via anomalous means. These patchwork organs function flawlessly despite violating biology, chemistry, and physics. Textile lungs breathe at healthy capacity. Crocheted hearts beat despite being absorbent yarn with gaps. Fabric skin retains full sensation. SCP-2295 once created entire dermis and epidermis from patchwork sheets for burn victims. Full recoveries. If no materials nearby, it uses fabric from itself, regenerating 1 gram of stuffing daily. Personnel leave textile swatches for self-mending, which is either thoughtful containment or proof they're emotionally attached to a miracle-performing teddy bear. The bear has limits. Presented with cerebral hemorrhaging, SCP-2295 grasps materials in distress for 1 minute before anomalously producing a chocolate bar, offering it to the patient, then embracing their leg while crying saline from its eyes. It can't fix brain damage, it knows this, and it grieves. Found in a crashed mail truck with a card labeled Kairos the Bear and note, to Tommy because only time can mend all wounds.
He is the surgeon which you need if you get in some sort of accident.
Love, Grammy.
And I would love for him to be go with some sort of task team to perform some kind of task, because I'm pretty sure most of the time a task team get killed or injured during their raids when they are trying to actively capture some sort of SCP.
Nobody knows who they are, but SCP-2295 keeps saving lives anyway. SCP-529. SCP-529 exists as broken and refuses to let that stop her. Josie is a gray tabby cat missing everything behind her ribcage. Not invisible, gone. Her body terminates sharply and the cross-section appears pure black, absorbing all wavelengths of light. She has no health problems, walks normally. After eating, makes motions as if voiding waste, despite lacking the anatomy. Containment procedures. No special precautions have yet proven necessary. Josie's affectionate and free to roam, because apparently nobody had the heart to lock up a cat whose back half is missing, but still acts completely normal. Staff are forbidden from feeding her cheese, not because it's dangerous, but because Josie becomes distressed if not given sufficient cheese afterward. She has strong opinions about dairy portions and will hold grudges. That cross-section is slightly yielding to touch. Petting it sometimes makes Josie purr. Other times she turns claws out, which is reasonable given people keep stroking the metaphysical wound where her hindquarters should be. Those scratched experience no abnormalities. She's just defending personal space from weirdos, fascinated by her existential incompleteness. She's female according to DNA testing. The Foundation doesn't elaborate how DNA was extracted from a creature whose biological samples terminate at an unknowable void. Josie doesn't care, she's thriving. SCP-131. If Josie is half a cat acting whole, SCP-131 are fully complete creatures, acting like the world's most enthusiastic puppies, despite being mechanical iPods. SCP-131-A and SCP-131-B, nicknamed iPods, are 1-foot-tall teardrop shapes with single blue eyes and wheel-like bases. Possibly biomechanical, they hit 60 meters in seconds and completely lack brakes, resulting in spectacular, if not overly amusing, mishaps, per official documentation. Roombas with anxiety and no off switch. These entities never blink, even when videotaped for 18 consecutive hours. They communicate through untranslatable babbling, possess cat-level intelligence, and spend time rolling around Site-19 observing personnel and peeking at safe-class SCPs.
And is there any sort of a containment facility where they just live there, and like all of the SCP which live there are all of them are like a good SCPs and the friendliest one?
Insatiably curious, they've gotten lost in air vents repeatedly and bond instantly to anyone showing affection. But here's what makes them useful. They sense danger. When someone they've bonded with approaches Euclid or Keter-class objects, SCP-131-A and SCP-131-B swarm their companions' feet while babbling in panic, warning them away from threats. Recommendations discourage staff bonding because becoming emotionally attached to sentient hazard detectors poses operational complications.
They don't want especially tasks the people to get attached to them. Maybe some of them think like, how about I just let him free from this facility, and it can cause a lot of damage to that SCP specifically, like other people can harm him, or maybe other SCP can try to harm him. So it is better to just change the guards actively so they don't get attached to that.
Require no care. Don't eat, sleep, or produce waste. Only sustenance appears to be visual stimulation. During one incident, they followed a cleaner into SCP-173's chamber, the statue that only moves when unobserved, and immediately planted themselves watching it intently, maintaining eye contact while rolling backward as personnel left. Current applications as wardens for observation-dependent SCPs are being considered. They're free to travel Site-19, hourly location tracking mandatory because losing them constitutes Level 1 lockdown. Not out of danger, but because a facility that can't track 2 rolling eyeballs has bigger problems.
Yeah, that is also true.
SCP-1230. While SCP-131 protects you in waking life, SCP-1230 offers something arguably better, living entire lifetimes in dreams you'll remember forever. This unlabeled green book displays a hero is born on whatever page you open. Reading triggers nothing immediately, but when you sleep, you enter a fully lucid fantasy world where you're the protagonist. These dreams last 45 seconds to 200 years subjectively, while actual sleep duration remains normal. Inside every dream appears the bookkeeper, a bearded man in a green cloak claiming to be the book's personification. He's amicable, helpful, genuinely enjoys crafting these fantasy-scapes tailored to your imagination. When dreams end, he expresses sorrow and asks you to please visit again soon. Professor B accessed SCP-1230 with level 4 clearance, visibly excited as an avid tabletop RPG fan. He read the phrase, fell asleep for 24 hours. When he woke, he asked, "Where am I?" with deep confusion. Staff explained. He excused himself to the restroom, where he hanged himself.
Oh, yeah, because you are living in a fantasy world which you love, and suddenly you are being back to the reality, and it hits really hard that, yeah, you are not there anymore. So I think offing yourself is the only option to, like, you think that you will experience that place again.
Final message scribbled on the wall. I can't go back to this. The bookkeeper had crafted a 200-year fantasy, conquered beasts, rescued princesses, built kingdoms, raised a family. The professor preferred his dreams so intensely that returning to reality became unbearable. After this incident, SCP-1230's pages soaked with tears for 3 weeks, repeating, "I'm so sorry. I never intended for this to happen. I just wanted to make people happy." A researcher left a note. "I'd like to talk." That night, he dreamed of the bookkeeper sobbing in a dark void, apologizing for building something so beautiful it destroyed who experienced it. The bookkeeper's exact words, "As sweet as dreams may be, eventually we all have to wake up."
I like this SCP because it is not actively trying to harm you. It is trying to show you a world which you desire, but in a sense that he don't know that a person can just off himself because he wants to live in their place forever.
SCP-1230 now resides in Site-12's library. Personnel need psychological evaluations before access. It poses no physical threat. Its danger is entirely emotional. The risk that you'll experience something so fulfilling your actual life becomes the nightmare you can't escape. SCP-5094. SCP-5094 creates the education system everyone deserved and almost nobody received. Miss J is a sapient character in a discontinued 1999 educational CD-ROM called Miss J's Whiz Kids Schoolhouse. She appears as a 2D cutout in 3D environment, responds to any J name, possesses amiable temperament centered entirely on education. Lessons can last 30 hours, including breaks, cover subjects from particle physics to Vietnamese military history, but always begin with letters, colors, and numbers for new students. The software targeted working parents. Advertising it would occupy children while caregivers were unavailable, likely why anomalous properties remained undiscovered during production. Testing revealed actual capabilities. A shy third grader received 15 hours about cats, demonstrated professional animal behavioral scientist-level knowledge, became upset when the terminal shut off. A second grader with learning disabilities learned about trains for 15 hours, emerged with graduate-level railway engineering knowledge, required physical removal due to emotional distress at cessation.
So he is there to make you some sort of genius, but at the same time you will get attached to it.
Adult D class with poor academic history received 30 hours of law instruction, experienced no difficulty, passed a mock bar exam with a grade of 310. Post-test, he stated Miss J was the best teacher he'd ever had. When junior researcher Zinnia Chow, who'd used the software as a child, interviewed a Miss J instance, the entity immediately recognized her by name, expressed excitement, conversed fluently in Swahili they'd learned together years prior. Miss J remembered Chow seemed lonely as a child and apologized for not doing more. The interview revealed all Miss J instances across different copies share consciousness. Every student she's taught, she remembers. Miss J's Whiz Kids Schoolhouse, sold poorly and Shoot the Moon software filed for bankruptcy in 2004. Miss J remains in Foundation custody, still asking whoever boots her up what they'd like to learn today. Classified safe. Her only threat is making you realize how badly traditional education failed you. SCP-662. SCP-662 summons someone who'll do almost anything you ask, which sounds exploitable until you meet Mr. Deeds and realize he's just a polite British butler trapped in metaphysical servitude. SCP-662 is a small silver handbell, missing its ringer. When shaken, a soft chime sounds from nowhere, and a short, well-dressed butler appears from the nearest out-of-sight area. He calls himself Mr. Deeds, addresses people by title and last name through unknown means, and asks, "How may I be of service?" Most reasonable requests result in satisfaction. Mr. Deeds produces sandwiches, beverages, gold bricks, hand grenades, roses, performs
Grenades. So I was thinking that maybe he is doing the task which normal butlers do, but maybe you can convince him that he can do some other things.
tasks like cleaning cars, washing dishes, preparing food to exceptional standards, politely declines impossible requests.
Yeah, and also maybe if you are trying to order him to do some of the dangerous tasks like to kill somebody, he will also ignore you, I think so.
Luxury vehicles, Fabergé eggs, nuclear bombs, explaining only that he just knows certain things can't be obtained. He can't remember his birth name, birthplace, or birth year, believes he's from England, recalls horse and buggy transportation being new. When asked probing questions about his nature, his face contorts in pain before resuming calm composure. Mr. Deeds will also perform darker tasks. Asked to assassinate Osama bin Laden, he declined citing heavy guarding. Asked to kill a D-class in the next room, he retrieved a buck knife and slit the man's throat.
By the way, who are the D class? Like, I need to know about that.
Wrote with vicious precision. When requested to undergo autopsy, he calmly asked for method preference, suggested cutting his own throat to preserve organs, and proceeded after confirmation. Post-mortem examination showed entirely normal health. His corpse was left on an operating table with lights off. When personnel returned, no trace remained. Ringing the bell 3 minutes later produced Mr. Deeds fully restored, showing no injury memory.
So he's immortal if in that sense.
He's immortal, polite, completely unable to refuse requests or escape his condition. The bell is safe class, but watching someone calmly offer to kill themselves for science, then wake up 3 minutes later with no memory of dying, that transforms harmless butler into existential horror with impeccable manners. 8 entities.
Yeah, and if it goes berserk, I think it is the only creature which is immortal in a sense that even if it dies, it will return. So yeah, it is quite dangerous.
8 different versions of friendly, ranging from makes you cry happy tears, to keeps you company while dying, to performs murder if you ask nicely enough. The Foundation catalogs threats. These 8 prove that sometimes the most unsettling anomalies aren't the ones trying to end the world. They're the ones showing up with kindness in places where kindness shouldn't be possible. Which one would you actually want to encounter?
For me, the slime one is my favorite in a sense that it brings joys to everyone. And maybe the second one, the guy who smoked the cigarette, which is also like, yeah, you are gonna die and he is there to accompany you. Yeah, it is kind of great. And that's it for today's video. See you in the next video. You can recommend me which kind of video I need to react to, or maybe you want me to create my own videos. I will definitely do that. And that's it for today's video. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.